Hello everyone. In this video, I am going to explain about 5 signs that every rotary file will show before it undergoes fracture. If we are smart enough to find out these signs that files will show before it fractures, we can prevent the fracture of the file inside the root canal system. So let's jump straight into the presentation and let's see the first sign. The first sign, I call it as the heat test. Let's see this example. I am taking a rotary file and I am bending it into an arc shape and I will insert it into a warm water. The water in the beaker is warm, and once I put the file inside the water, the file straightens out. Why this happens? Because the file is a martensitic alloy of nickel titanium. Once we are bending the file will retain its shape. But once it is heated, it will go back to its original shape in which it was manufactured. This property is called as the shape memory. So once the file, although it is deformed, once it is heated, it will remember the shape that it was manufactured and it will regain its original shape. And now you may wonder how this is going to help to find whether the file is going to fracture. Let's watch the next video clip. These are some of the files which are used repeatedly, and I am just putting those files in the warm water. The first file, you can say that it has regained its shape, and I will put some other files. So I will put 4 files one by one, and you will come to know the ability of the file to regain its shape. So again, the second file, you can see that it has become straight, but it has not reached to the full extent as it was one. The first one that I have shown, the first clip, which was a new file, and these are used files. And in the fourth file, we can see that again. So the file is straightening out, but may not be to the full extent. Now let's do a comparison. So now you will be able to make out which of the files will fracture and which of the files are not going to fracture. So have a look at this video. The files which have become more straight or almost regains the straight shape are resistant to fracture. They are still very capable and still we can use in the root canal system for cleaning and shaping. At the same time, if you are thinking of these 3 files which have not regained its shape, so these 3 files may fracture if you are continuing to use it for cleaning and shaping. This file is a new file and this file is a used file, but still it has regained. So I would say that the last 3 files, these 3 files, we can say that they will fracture, but the first 2 can be used without any doubts that we can use definitely inside for cleaning and shaping. So from this we can say that, are you going to heat each and every file before doing cleaning and shaping? No, just autoclave the file and examine the file once you take it out of the autoclave, and if the files are straight, use it. If they comes bent, it has lost the shape memory property and that file will fracture. So that's our first test, our first sign for detecting the file fracture chances. So the second test I called as the rigidity test. What is this rigidity test? The second property of all nickel titanium alloys or files are the super elasticity. So these files are very elastic. So if you are bending it, we can bend it easily and it will retain the shape. So once we are using the file again and again, the super elasticity property will be lost. So what happens if you are bending it? It will be very rigid for bending, or it will not bend to the original extent that it used to be before. So this is a file which is used many times, and I am bending it. You can see that it has attained a arc shape, and I will bend the file which is fresh out of the box. This is a new file, and you can see that I can bend it without much efforts, and it can even reach a hook shape. Why? Because the file still have a more super elastic property. It's not used, it is a fresh file, and but at the same time the file which was used repeatedly has lost its property. You have to understand that any file before undergoing fracture, it will become more rigid. Once it becomes rigid, it will undergo a plastic deformation and then it will fracture. So you can see here that if you are bending two files, and if it can be bent without much efforts to a very bow or a hook shape, then you can say that here you can see clearly that the file in your right hand side is a new file, and in the left hand side it is a old file. Okay, so that's the second test. I call it as the rigidity test, which tests the superelasticity property. Before going further, I am Dr. Benin Palayan. I will make videos that will be useful for dentist and dental students. If you like my videos, subscribe, put a thumbs up, and I will make more videos definitely, and I hope that it will be really helpful. Read the description. I have put my social media links, and subscribe, follow, and put a thumbs up. The third test, which is essential to know, is the deformation test. We all know that the martensitic form or the control memory files will undergo deformation similar to that of stainless steel files. So we can zoom it and we can see that. So this file have elongated. So this elongation happened because of the import stress while doing cleaning and shaping. So once this deformation happens, the file may get elongated or it may get supercoiled. So we can have a look before using the file in the root canal system with a magnification, or just we can even take a photograph, zoom it, and you can check it in a mobile phone for deformations like this. Here this file has undergone a very long elongation, and this type of files will fracture. So before fracture, the files will get elongated. So the files will get rigid and the files will get elongated before fracture. So these are the types of the files which has to be discarded immediately, and these files, if used, will fracture while doing cleaning and shaping, especially in the apical part, because the slender files will reach, especially the tips undergo more deformation compared to the rigid portions of the file. So next, and another important test is the test for to find out the color change. You can see that there are two files, both are of the same brand of different batches. One file is used and the other file is fresh out of the box. So you can literally clearly see that one of the file is more golden in color compared to the other. Why this happens? Because whenever these files undergo heat treatment, it gains this golden color. So this color comes because of some deposition of chemicals in the superficial surface. This surface becomes rigid, and so the cutting efficiency improves. But once you are using it repeatedly, there will be a surface loss, maybe like the paint being scraped off the wall. In the same way, the coating of the golden color will slowly disappear from the surface, leaving there will be the metallic texture of the file will be lost, or the golden color will be lost. So it is better to have a look, or we can even have a fresh file for comparison near to us every time, so that you can just compare it, and once you find that it has lost the golden color or it is losing the golden color, then it's a good time that you can discard it. You can see that there is no deformation of the file. The used file also, you can see that this is a used file. You cannot see any deformation compared to that of the new file, but you can easily make out that the color of the new file is more golden. So it's easy to differentiate. So the last test for finding out the sign is the test for the length. So once the file gets elongated, the length also increases. Why it gets elongated? So here you can see that there are many areas of elongations. Here you can see that the file is getting elongated because of the unwinding. So once this unwinding happens, here you can see that. So the one at the top is a used one at the bottom is a new one. So the bottom files, you can see the comparison that it is more elongated compared to that of the new one. So just you can measure the file, not so much, maybe 0.5 to 1 millimeter. The file will be longer compared to that of the new file. So once this elongation happens or the length increases, or sometimes the length will decrease because of supercoiling. So whether the length of the file is more or less, then you have to consider that it has undergone considerable changes in deformity and it's a time that it has to be discarded. I hope these 5 important tips or the signs or the test are really helpful, and I know that it will transform your practice and the chances that you are going to fracture the files will be minimized after watching this and if you follow these tips. So watch more videos and practice more endodontics and save more teeth, and thumbs up and stay tuned. I will make videos in other topics and I will come up with some other video. Thank you for watching till the end. Have a nice day.